Welcome to the SheRo Game Podcast, or I should say welcome back. Thank you so much for tuning in.
I am Sheila, the she in SheRo.
And I am Rhonda Renee, the Ro in SheRo. And we're going to get into...
Today, we're going to talk about new friends. Okay. New friends and networking. And kind of how this topic came about is there's this saying, like, no new friends. Who started that? Drake?
Yes, that's some old rubbish.
Yeah, so Ron and I were sort of thinking, I don't know about that because, so first let's talk about why you might need new friends.
Well, we could use ourselves as a perfect example.
Okay.
Like,
let's hear it.
My personal experiences are, I'm often misunderstood and I'm often the object of jealousy from a lot of females. I won't get into logistics, but the point is, so I always have reservations about predominantly females in my space. And I feel like I've earned the right to be that way, just because of the things that have happened to me. So I don't shy away from forming new friendships, but I'm not necessarily proactive in that light. Sheila was actually a client of mine, and it just kind of went from there. It was just like, just conversations where somehow there was a feeling of being safe in a space to talk about things that were deeply personal. And then it just evolved into an organic, really deep and beloved friendship between us. And it's one of my newer friendships that I personally believe will be here forever.
Absolutely. So yeah, I share in Rhonda's experience prior to me meeting and then establishing a friendship with Rhonda. I think my newest friend was probably from college. So we're talking over 10 years ago. So most of my friendships are from people I grew up with, people I went to high school with, and then college. So it seems like after college, there becomes this hesitancy to create new friendships. But for me, I feel like as you grow and evolve, your circle has to shift a little bit because everybody's doesn't have anything in common with you anymore. Yes. There's certain things that you'll always stay connected with. There's certain people who are always going to be your day ones. You're going to show up for one another. You're going to be there for one another. You're going to be each other's cheerleader. But I feel like it's very important to have friendships or a network of people who share things in common with where you are in your journey.
Yeah, because I think that any relationship when it starts doesn't always end up going in the same direction, the same speed, in the same way. So it's like you have to make adjustments. You may have to get off the highway, stay off of it for a minute, and then jump back on. You may have to drop some people off that you had in the car with you. But I think that's just a natural progression of life and growth and development.
Yeah, some people are only meant to be in your lives for seasons. And then as you shift into new seasons again, sometimes your friendships have to change. I can recall us having a conversation before with a young lady who was saying she was struggling with her friendship circle because she had gotten married and had a baby and all of her friends were still single. And it's like, you need friends, married friends with babies.
With kids, yeah.
What do you do? Like, you got to get a babysitter every time you want to have a conversation with your friends. Like, if Rhonda comes to my house, she brings her son. Her son's the same age as my son. They go play. We do our thing. And it just works. So it's different when you're in different stages of your life. Not to say that you don't still maintain those friendships, but I think it's important that you have a circle of people who are where you are. And then I also think that building those relationships is sort of like the beginning of building your network. If you want to evolve in your career or you want to do a hobby or something personally, you want to build with people around you who can help challenge you and help you grow. And you can do the same thing for those people.
Absolutely. I think it's probably Jay-Z who said something about, like, if you're the richest person in the room, you're amongst the wrong people.
Oh, and if you're the smartest, same thing.
The smartest. Like, you have to surround yourself with people that can elevate you because iron sharpens iron. And so if you're not in a position to allow yourself to grow, there's only so much growth you can do by yourself. There's billions of people on the planet for a reason. We're just not here, going through life with no purpose for one another. And I think that it's important to, broaden your horizons but use discernment.
Oh, absolutely. That's important. So I know a lot of times people are skeptical about being vulnerable with new people because it's hard to trust people. I mean, we talked on a previous episode about how selfish people are these days. I don't know what's going on in the world right now, period.
In the air, the water, and
absolutely. So it's very important to use your gift of discernment. We all have it. And make sure you're choosing wisely, like the same way you would go about navigating romantic relationships. You have to choose your friends the same way. You can't just trust a woman just because she's having a conversation with you and she seems like a cool and nice, fun person. Like, people have ulterior motives, agendas. Check for character the same way you would before you allow someone in your life or to care for your child or something like that. It's important to do that too, but don't let that be the reason why you don't expand your circle. Because there are good people in the world, trust me.
And then it keeps you from having a very like stuck or stagnant mindset. You know, I think everybody knows people who have stayed in their same hood their entire life. Like in Detroit, it's a common saying, they never went on the other side of 8 Mile.
No.
You know? So all my Detroit players, you know what we talking about. But, you know, it's like you have to come outside of your comfort zone. And a lot of times that's what it is for people. They don't like being outside of their comfort zone because it's unfamiliar and it induces a very strong, you know, feeling of fear. And I think that when you go outside of what is comfortable to you, you learn so many things. Good and bad and indifferent. You know, you have more knowledge because your experiences are different. For me, my wisdom comes from my experiences.
Absolutely.
Not some that I always just jumped into, but things that just innately by the course of time have happened to me. And I've always used my experiences as learning lessons and as tokens of wisdom whenever I'm moving forward in life, progressing into different things and just day by day. And so it's important to understand that people play a strong role in that.
Absolutely.
You know, because people are all around. So the moment you run into this type of person, the next time you see another person displaying the same behaviors, good, bad, or indifferent, you can recognize that. And so then you know where to kind of like place yourself in that setting and in that space with that person and how to, you know, respond to them or, you know, behave around them.
Agree. I think that we encounter the people that we need through the various seasons of our lives. I think sometimes it's, I think God sends us the people that we need for certain seasons of our lives. So I feel you block blessings when you are not open to receiving new people. So, you know, the people that I needed where I was when I was 20 are not going to be the same types of people that I need now. And there's some relationships that do grow and evolve and we grow together and we build with one another. But then there's some that we just don't. A lot of the things that I'm working on both personally and professionally right now are with people who I've met in the last, 5 to 8 years of my life. And so I just think it's important to be mindful of the fact that when you're stuck in a comfortable position and you don't want to be uncomfortable, you inhibit your growth. You don't grow from a place of being uncomfortable. Of being comfortable and choosing to stay that way forever. So embracing new people, new surroundings, going somewhere you've never been, meeting people you've never met, it's just powerful. I talked to a lot of people who are very successful, and one of the things that is a recurrent, I'm gonna say, piece of advice is it's not what you know, it's who you know. Yes. You can be highly intelligent, you can have, be well-rounded and well-traveled and all these things, and you might meet that right person that opens a door that you would have never gotten open any other kind of way.
Absolutely. So I agree.
The power of that is just something that's not really quantifiable. You really don't know what you missed out on unless you put yourself out there.
And then you don't know what it is that you have to offer to other people that you may not even know was a gift or somebody else really needed. Sometimes when we're in something so long, and that kind of goes into any category, we get comfortable. And so sometimes we lose sight of the power or the impact that it can have.
Absolutely.
And so sometimes you're sharing your gift with somebody, not even knowing that you're sharing a gift. And just as much as, you need to be in a place to where you're receiving some elevation from other people around you, you also can put yourself in a position knowingly and unknowingly to actually reciprocate that. you know, and sometimes it's not always easily recognized, but I think the more we understand ourselves and who we are to our core and incorporate everything about us to kind of come to, you know, come to a realization of, you know, who we are and how we function, then you can kind of be more, I guess, diligent and more proactive and more intentional about giving those things to people, you know, because everybody has something. Everybody has something to offer.
Yeah.
No matter if it's the homeless man on the street. Well, how did he become homeless? What did he do before he became homeless? You know what I'm saying? Was there a freak accident that happened? You know, was he a veteran? You know, did his parents die and, you know, he was left as an orphan and it didn't work out and he ran away and he's just been on his own his whole life. You know, you'd be surprised. I know people who do a lot of philanthropic things in the community and they actually sit down and have conversations with these people. You know, I know of some actors that have literally just stood side by side and just really got down in the dirt with people to prepare for a role. But it didn't just prepare them for a role, but it gave them an understanding of these people that we know nothing about, but we often judge based on their situation. And every situation is not created equal. So I think that, you know, being around new people in new environments and networking, and sometimes it can be daunting because we're just like, I don't know what to say, and how do I dress, and what do I do, and who's gonna be there, and you have all of these, you know, thoughts running through your mind when really it's just be who you are.
Just be who you are.
Everything will flow naturally. Just be organic and authentic, and, you know, life will take care of itself.
Yes, I definitely think it's very important to show up as your authentic self in any situation you put yourself in. If it doesn't feel right, if it's not organic, it's not the encounter for you. But what I will say is that I think that we take our gifts for granted. So the things that we do easily, that come easy to us, we're like, anybody can do that. And I'm like, no, everybody can't do that. Like, I've had to sit and tell some of my friends and say, like, they're like, well, you could just, no, this is your gift. That ain't mine, sweetie. I got my gifts, but that ain't it. So the world is relying on you to put that out into the world. So just like you get things from people, you give things to people. So, and we take it for granted what we give people, but it's usually mutually beneficial. Like I don't know if I've ever had very many one-sided friendships. And I think that's almost like a sign that it's time to move or shift when it becomes one-sided. I think all relationships and interactions should be mutually beneficial in some way, shape, or form. So once it gets to the point where it's like one-sided, where you're either giving all the time or taking all the time, it might be a sign that you're growing apart.
Absolutely. And I mean, that's to be expected because that's what happens with growth and elevation. You know, you tend to, you know, separate from people. And it doesn't mean that any love has to be lost or that, you know, it has to be on bad times. You just have grown apart naturally. You know, I have some friends that I have been friends with since elementary school, but it's probably only 2 of them that I would still consider my friends. One, I was in her wedding. The other one, you know, we take trips together. And we've been friends for 24 years now, you know, but there's some others that, you know, they might still be my friend on Facebook, but if you asked me their phone number, I couldn't tell you. If you asked me what they were doing outside of what they posted on social media, I couldn't tell you, and vice versa for them. For me, it's no love lost. Our lives just went in different directions. And I'm pretty sure you've evolved into a different person than you were when I met you to some extent, and so have I, you know, but if there's no commonality that's happening right now in the present, in whatever season that it is that I'm in, personally, I'm not inclined to force something because of the length of time that I've known somebody. I know a lot of people tend to stay loyal based on the history of in the time that you've been knowing a person. And sometimes those things evolve into a very toxic situation because you're constantly trying to hold on to something that has grown to be separated by whatever means that it happens. You know, and you stifle your growth and you stifle the blessings that may be coming towards you because you don't have room for it because you still got all this junk and all this stuff that's not even supposed to be in your bag. You know what I'm saying? It's like cleaning out the bottom of your purse. You got gum wrappers and bobby pins and stuff that you didn't even know was down there, but you're like, let me clean this out and start over and put everything in there neat because I'm only going to take with me what is functional to me.
Absolutely.
And what it is that I need. You know, what is of value to me, and it creates a completely different dynamic.
Agree. I'm reminded of how we have like our sandbox buddies, and there's some people who just don't want to let that go. But we talked about on a different episode how you have your relationships that you're born with, and then you have those relationships that you choose. And friendships are always relationships that you choose. So just, you know, I understand our parents put us in the sandbox together at 3, so we feel just as attached to them as we do our siblings sometimes.
Right.
But as you grow and elevate and grow in different directions, sometimes you grow apart, and it doesn't necessarily mean that one person is stagnant. It could mean I'm growing up to the right and you're growing up to the left, but we're growing in different directions, and our paths just don't make sense anymore. But as you let go of old friendships, you have to be open to new ones, because, you know, at some point, I know people who pride themselves on, I got the same 3 fans I had since I was 3, and no new friends, and, you know, whatever. Now, I think that that's okay to a certain extent, but it's like, how do you continue to grow and elevate when the only people you communicate with are the same people you've communicated with your entire life? The only people you seek advice from, the only people you have intellectual conversations. You don't want to broaden your horizon in that way.
And that's why I said that I think that type of behavior or perception keeps you in a box. So to speak. It's not that you have to get rid of them, but you just add some more to the mix.
Yeah, absolutely.
And diversify.
Yeah, so because I got some day ones who always gonna be my ride or dies, like, you know, for sure. But it's like, you know, some of the things like I'm building with you. I have another friend who we're working on a nonprofit together. I mean, these are friends, people who I met recently, and these are solid people who I know who I love and who I know I can trust. Yeah. And they're not people who I was playing on a playground with at 3. You know, so. So I think just being open to that is important.
It's very important.
So my game piece for today is people are blessings. We have all these people around us. Having interactions and relationship with people is a blessing. And you block that when you don't open yourself up to developing new relationships. However, use your gift of discernment.
Yeah, I think, excuse me, my game piece would be heavy on the discernment. The world has changed tremendously from when we were kids. I mean, I remember going to the liquor store to get liquor and cigarettes for my aunt, and it not being a problem because I just knew better. It was the level of respect and fear that was like, you just know that it's wrong. You're not even trying to play with it at all, you know. But now we've progressed into the society where there's so much access to everything, and, you know, the same laws that we had to abide by then, we don't have to abide by now, and then vice versa, you know. And so it's changed the world and the paradigm of the society that we live in, and it has created a different animal, in my opinion. And, you know, so it's kind of like you really don't know what you're getting, because like when we talked about tradition, the old tradition that we grew up on, that is not the same now. Yeah. You know, you got kids yelling at their grandparents, and you're like, what?
I still get nervous when I slip the casserole in front of my mama. I be like, oh shoot,
right?
Did I say that in front of my mom?
Exactly.
Like,
so. You know, so it's like you have to just always be at P's and Q's, and just allow time to really determine what something is. You know, absolutely. And just pay attention.
Pay attention. Don't force it. Allow it to develop organically. And
you'll know when it's real.
You'll know.
You won't have to. It won't be hard.
And it definitely won't be forced.
It won't be forced.
So with that, I am Sheila, the She and SheRo.
And I am Ron and Renee, the Ro and SheRo. Thank you guys again for tuning in. We'll see you guys next time.
Thanks. We're out.